Oh, welcome guys to our little um end of our well, almost an end to our inventory management thing. Crafting, it will track how many you can craft and different variety of things. It will not track what you've already crafted yet. So, the game objects that you've made and everything else, it's not tracking them yet, but it wouldn't be hard for us to make a collection that does it and all that. Not a big deal, you know. And, it was a live stream project that I started today, and I'm pretty happy with it. See, our logic button is really simple. It is tied into our singleton, so it will always have a reference. And this is the script that will um, that will pass in the information on what to do. So we could possibly make this item, it returns an item, so we can have it just parent it to a guy, instantiate it, and put it into our weapon array that we have for a player or a variety of other things. I'm not even going to speculate on, but we do have an item that it returns, and we have our Unity level system. And this level system is starting to get very large and in charge, but it does a lot of variety of things. Now, this method right here is the get item. I only get the object by resource.loading. You can also use asset bundles, which you probably will for um, for items, but I want to give you examples of both that could be used. Because asset bundles, you can easily have it do what needs to be done. Have a dictionary and then have it just call out from the dictionary. Really easy to do. Resource loading is really easy too. You just have to have a resources folder spelled exactly the way it needs to be, and you just load it up. Or, from this, I only gave the pointer and returned a generic object because I didn't want this script to instantiate anything in the world and stuff. I want a separate script to do the behaviors. So, if we wanted it in a weapon script or something like that, well, guess what? This can hold weapons. This can hold health. It can, you know, get a variety of things. And it's not very complex either. It checks to make sure we have the correct amount that we need for our crafting. And this will take care of all the math, hey, that it needs. And then we've got several classes that were made today, which some of them might not be used and some of them might. Get item, this is being used because this is in our button thing. It gets the details for the text. So every single time we create a button, we have this class that holds all the information that needs to be on the UI text. So it does all that fun stuff for formatting and everything else in the editor. You'll be able to see it and you'll be able to fill it out really nice. And then we got another string path. This is the path to the file that holds all the information for the stuff that we need. This is the actual string that gets pushed into our get item function. This is the string. So every single one of the UI buttons, it would be very easy to instantiate and do what needs to be done because you only have to pass get item. You only have to pass it, and that's it. And then update your text as usual. This is not a mono behavior start. It is a custom start, which I did lowercase. And then we have our function. This is for the button itself. So you have that. And however you want to instantiate your buttons, that's how you would instantiate them. I just chose to do a script on the button itself so that you do not have to worry about broken references and null references and stuff like that. It won't break on you. And this is the only script that can upgrade the text. Well, not really, because you got this public property right here, but it all gets done. So in the future, I plan on taking a inventory manager. We're going to make a function that will create buttons that's on our main class, our singleton class. So when we call the start in here, it will instantiate everything that we need a button for based on our crafting level. Okay, our crafting level is what gives us more buttons and more stuff that we can craft. I have no way of upgrading our level yet for crafting, but I do have a player. If you've seen my video on player level system, it has a upgradation of each time you kill an enemy. It will, it gives you the function to call and everything else. It's pretty self-explanatory, and that's the way it is. The next step I believe I'm going to do is take some of the stuff out of this and create a editor window so we can create items and things like that in them. So I plan on doing that, and it will be posted to YouTube. I'm not going to just stream over it or nothing like that because it's so small and there's a lot of little things in there. But I plan on doing it that way, just in a video, and this will be for my Patreon guys, that support the community. It will be on YouTube, yes, but if you want the scripts given to you and written and complemented and stuff like that to the most of my ability, I guess you could say, then it's going to be, but I did have a idea of getting a small little GIMP road or whatnot, where you guys can just buy the script one time, pay like $5, get like the entire inventory project or the level project, pay a couple bucks for that, and it's written for you. Well, and it helps your community and stuff like that. But yeah, this is pretty much majorly done. There's little here and there's about it and everything else, but the next video is probably about this one. Will just be an editor script, and then I'm not going to do a video, I think, of cleaning up code. I think that should be like that would just be a waste, because you guys are more interested in the functions than anything. The refactoring, I don't think you'll be too let's say enthusiastic about it, let's say. But this is a script that's getting bigger and bigger, and some of this only needs to be here for the editor, like crafting new weapons. I think that should be an editor window. Crafting new weapons and everything should be an editor window. Saving like craft data and stuff, yeah, that's all editor stuff. And that's how I feel about it. But if you guys are more interested in what happened today and things, you should haul over to the Twitch channel, because Twitch has a archive for, I think, a month or something like that, or like a week or vice versa, it'll keep the video about this on Twitch for quite some time. But you know, I would haul over there and follow if you're more interested in that type of environment, or just in general if that's what interests you. And that will probably be it for this video. Sorry it's short, but it really doesn't need to be very big or anything like that. So to go over to Unity, we will see this thing in action. And in Unity, you'll see that this is a button. And I just slapped it in there and everything else. You put it make item dot get item, and this is the function and stuff you'll call. I don't have it updating the text yet because I haven't done the spawning in of buttons. But all you have to do is hit the thing, and you'll see that it has no game object. Well, guess what? Bam. It gives us a game object. So, in your code, you can go, hey, if this game object is null, I'll show you. And like make item, we can put if it's null, then do this, and if not, then we instantiate to our player, and that could be your whole button. And that would be really easy to do. It's just an else if statement. If this is null, do this. If we click it again, it gives us our item. Real easy to do, not that big of a deal. And this is so very little memory because it's just a small class of 2 strings and a game object, which we could make it lower if we wanted. And this text element doesn't really have to be here. We could probably cut that off and in our custom start go get component text equals this. But then you have the get component call, and also the performance that you're using for get component versus just cutting it out to a string. I see there's going to be more performance gains from doing this than there will be a get component. But that's entirely up to what you guys feel like. And I could also put this on enable, but I look at it this way. This is your crafting window. So as many of these items that are going to be there, and it's going to populate, you may have 100 different items in your game. I don't think you want 100 scripts going on enable all the time like that. So when it spawns in, we only want it to do it one time, which but you might have the issue of course, we could do an object pool of this, which I'm actually thinking about anyway. We might object pool this, but yeah, it's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory if you look at the code. And we have that. Our player data class, I changed to player amount types. This is a static dictionary, okay, that also gets, I believe, saved. But the thing is, we call it amounts now. So anything that we have an integer with, like bullets, money, gold, all kinds of different types, okay? All different types. Gold, bullets, gunpowder. We can have a variety of like 100 different combinations. And this dictionary will hold all of it. Okay? This dictionary holds it all. And there we go. And in here, not much going on. I mean, we got some variables here. Now there's this item array. When we go to save, we have to use this, the array type of item, because we want to save all the items, which, believe it or not, I think this variable right here should be a editor only thing, because we're only saving the stuff, okay? We're not actually loading it into our game at all. We shouldn't be loading this into the game. We should never know like every single item that is possible for us to do. Get item, and it's everything. Yeah, we'll probably never use something like that, because here's the thing. Once you load that type of information in, you can't get rid of it because you need it. And then if you tie it in, it just becomes like over complicated. See, and I also saver types, which, you know, if it's 0, so we're definitely going to do some type of UI stuff pretty soon. I plan on it big time. So that's probably going to be the plan, but I definitely see in the future the usefulness of a system like this, because we're not actually making items and having a huge collection in our game. It actually is a small footprint, and I think that's what most mobile games need. So yeah, and when we do our items, here's our items, okay? When our items are going and all that stuff, it's actually in our manager class. We don't have it in our player stats. We have this state, and we got paths, required XP, that's fine. Maybe it is in our craft data. Let's put 1. Okay. Every single item that we go to get in our buttons itself, it only has 2 strings. Okay. So that's our thing. But the requested items, you can have this one where it only needs 1 material, or you can make this have where it has to have 12 materials. It's very flexible, and each material that you use, you know, let's say if you have a game that takes 20 different materials, you know, 1 steel, 1 wood, 1 this, 1 that, 1 that, 1 that, and so on and so forth. This is flexible enough to go, hey, I have all these materials. So you can have 12 different materials that you need in your game. You're going to be, it's flexible enough to do it, and it'll return you a game object. Okay? And it doesn't even have to be a game object. It could be a script or something. I don't know what your game would be, but you can have it return what you need. I know you can. So that is how flexible it is when it comes to materials that you actually need. And we have paths for everything. For our streaming assets has crafts. Everything, our crafting level actually contains every string that we're going to get in our array of buttons. And every time you level up, you get more recipes that you can do. So crafting level 1, let's say, only has this pour right here. And when you get to crafting level 2, you get this broken thing, and you're like, oh, well, that kind of stinks. But then you get to crafting level 3, and the recipe that it finally adds is the epic. And the file that we have which I have for a text file, it has all the stuff that you'll need. It'll return a game object. It'll return values that you need. Requested. Okay, requested. It all is dependent on what you put as the requested part. See all these things that you actually need to build it, like iron, steel, gold, or whatnot. Well, that is the thing about it. That is the item stuff that you have to have in order for it to return the game object. So when you go to pull up that file, it loads up that information and goes, hey, does he have all this? If he doesn't, we just pretty much trash it. Well, it doesn't trash the file that you done loaded. It keeps it in a cache. And then every single time you try to load something different, it just changes the cache of it. So that's what that's all about. But it would be really easy to make a very big inventory system for guns or swords or maybe even characters. I mean, hey, you make a robot that you need 80,000 steel for and some wood, and then tissue, and you could call it all kinds of stuff. It doesn't matter. Now, the identification for it and everything else is going to be your button information. Okay, the script that you have that says button details, this right here, button item details, that will be everything that you need the UI to tell the user. We don't want to throw more integers in there and everything else. Just throw the full string in it right into your XML. Just keep the whole string in it. Just don't even bother with add plus to string and this and that. It's just going to be more memory that it pulls. Just let the string do the work. Because I believe if you put it inside of a string, you can use Unicode for formatting. Like, I believe you can, but it wouldn't be hard in yeah, you probably can't use Unicode because it goes from a string and it won't interpret it right. I don't know, you might get it to work, but yeah, just that's what's up with that the item stuff that we had go on today. So I see a lot of solutions where you got to keep a great big old collection. So I was like, man, honest to God, I think that sucks. Because if you have a list of every game object that you have and everything else in the game, like a central place for everything, or like, let's say you have 1,000 different items in the game, you got a list of 1,000. To iterate through that would be slow. And I wouldn't like that. I don't want that. So I was like, well, I'm going to make something modular, kind of, that doesn't require you to keep all that information around all the time. And it doesn't. The most information is just the regular game objects that you have. So, I mean, you could always just make another weapon or just keep clicking and you'll get another weapon. But yeah, I was like, this is sweet. So maybe we'll do some conditioning for our guns. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what topics that I want to hit anymore, because I've hit so many of them, from an FPS to saving and loading to loading stuff in the level. So I'm going to let you guys go and have a nice Friday on good old July 15th. Take care and, like, hit subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And don't forget to not like, I don't know, have a good time on a Friday. Sleep, drink, do what you do. And thank you guys for your time, and peace. I'm out.